They say karma takes its time, but when it finally shows up, it knocks on the right door. This is how Miss Brielle found her power again, not through payback but through presence. He called me fat with a smile on his face. Not angry, not in the middle of a fight. Just honest. Like he thought saying, "It's soft" would hurt me less. I mean, you're beautiful, babe, don't get me wrong. I just wish you'd care more about your health. It's hard to stay attracted when someone's constantly letting themselves go. MMHMM. That's what I said, just MMHMM. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even blink. I just folded up the shirt I'd been wearing for the gym, the one he asked me to try on, and I placed it gently on the bed. He watched me with that smug little half smile, like he'd done me a favor telling the truth. Said he was just being real, that a man can only hold on to love when he's still physically attracted. And in that moment, baby, I didn't think about breaking up. I thought about burning down the whole damn house. But instead, I stayed quiet. I let him think he'd won. Let him believe I was weak, ashamed, ready to do anything for validation. But what that man didn't know was that I grew up in a body I was taught to hate. What he said didn't echo nearly as hard as what I already survived. So I walked out that night with nothing but my car keys and my dignity. And a year later, he's still in my DMs, begging for access, and paying $29.99 a month just to see the body he once tried to belittle. Before I was the woman running her own page, mackin' bank, and blessin' women with body confidence. I was just Brielle. Insurance admin, quiet, loyal, round in all the places that make the world whisper she's pretty, but I'd get up every morning at 6:15 a.m. on the dot, wash my face with the same lavender cleanser I've been using since college, smooth on some cocoa butter, and stare at my reflection long enough to start picking it apart. Chin too full, arms too wide, belly too soft. That voice wasn't just mine, it was my mama's, my auntie's, some boys from middle school, and later it became his. His name was Chris, real estate agent, loved mirror selfies more than he loved talking about feelings. I met him on a dating app. He had that sweet tough combo, called me queen in the morning but said it like he was ordering it off a menu. We matched during the height of pandemic boredom. You know, when folks cling to whoever happens to call back. He wasn't perfect, but he responded fast. Took me on good dates too. Spent money. Showed up with cologne and flowers and just enough attention to make me feel like maybe this time I wasn't being settled on but chosen for. That meant something to me. Because full-figured black girls like me, we don't always get chosen first. We're the funny friend, the shoulder, the one they date in secret, the experimental phase before they go marry somebody 2 sizes down with whatever they've been told is wife material. So when Chris complimented me in public, I held it like scripture. Didn't realize how fast kindness can turn into control when it's wrapped in attraction. He never said it all at once. It came in moments. Are you gonna wear that dress again? It's real clingy. Maybe skip dessert tonight, babe. You should try Pilates. My ex lost 30 pounds doing it. It was always subtle. Long glances at other women. Extra praise when I posted a selfie at a flattering angle. He'd grab my love handles when we were joking, and squeeze too long to be funny. And when I didn't laugh, he'd say, "I'm just playing, you're beautiful, you're just not where you could be." That phrase, "not where you could be," it burned slow, like touching a pot that didn't boil yet but still scalds. I started changing. Stopped eating past 7 p.m. Downloaded fitness apps. Bought the detox teas all the girls pushed in those before and after reels, even though something in me knew they were selling dreams and diarrhea. But I wanted to be wanted. And I thought shrinking meant safety. Thought weight loss would hand me the security love never promised me. So I tried. I tried for that man harder than I ever tried for myself. And the more I tried, the more he pulled away. Suddenly he was working late more often, following more of those toned beauty trainers on Instagram, liking pictures of girls who looked nothing like me. He once told me, "I love thick girls, but there's thick and then there's, you know, I just don't want people looking at us and thinking." He didn't even finish the sentence. Didn't need to. I heard it in the silence. The break finally came when he brought me home a gym outfit. Size medium. I hadn't worn a medium since junior year of high school. I held it up, blinked. "This isn't gonna fit me." He grinned like he was Bane cute. "Then that's the point, right?" I don't know what happened in my spirit, but baby, something clicked. I folded that shirt slow. Walked to the dresser. Placed it down. Turned back around and said, "You know what, Chris? I really hope you find the kind of love you're looking for, but this ain't it." He blinked. Did that little smirk. "You're really gonna get mad over some honesty?" I smiled. "No, I'm just finally recognizing abuse in a bow tie." And just like that, I left. No tears. No begging. Left the dinner still hot on the table, grabbed my purse, and walked into the night like the main character I hadn't realized I'd become. But baby, I didn't just walk away. I walked toward something. Something that would change my life. And his relationship with my body forever. I moved back into my cousin's spare room that same night. She had a twin bed, no dresser, and a full-length mirror I used to avoid like it could read my thoughts. But that little boxed-in room, it held freedom. And something strange started happening in that freedom. It got quiet. Not just around me, inside me. That voice that used to gnaw at me, "You not enough, you not his type, you not ready to be loved." It started lossin' volume. Because for the first time in years, there wasn't a man in the room motivating my every choice. There was just me. Me and my soft belly, and my full hips, and the skin that still glowed even after Bane dragged by insecurity for so long. Now I'm not gonna lie and act like some goddess just rose up inside me overnight. I was still bruised. Still hearing his words like they'd carved themselves into my ribs. But one thing about me, once I decide something ain't gonna own me no more, I get to work. First thing I did, I threw out the detox teas. Then the scale. Then the meal plan he printed out for me, with portions so small, I felt like a bird pecking at hope. Next thing, I signed up for a self-love journaling challenge I saw on TikTok. Don't sound like much, I know. But baby, that challenge climbed into my spirit. Every day for 21 days, I had to face the girl in the mirror, not to change her. Not to squeeze her into shape, but to listen to her. And on day 9, the prompt said, "Write a love letter to your body for everything it got you through." And child, I broke into a million pieces and built myself back in cursive. Now listen, I never saw myself as online material. I had always called myself low-key. I wasn't the girl posting body pics, I wasn't out here thirst trapping. But one day I posted a lil throwaway clip of me doing my morning stretches, bonnet on, skin bare, no filter, with the caption, "Soft fat still worthy." Went on about my day. Didn't check my phone for hours. When I finally opened the app that night, over 15,000 views. 2,000 likes. Hundreds of comments saying, "I feel this in my bones. Auntie energy, young queen confidence. You just woke up a whole generation of big girls." Something changed in me that night. Not 'cause I was Bane praised, but because I was Bane seen. Not edited. Not shrunk. Not flattered into desirability. Just me. Stretch marks and joy wrapped into one. I didn't become a millionaire overnight. I started slow. Opened a private page for full body confidence coaching and slow sensual movement videos. Things I'd learned to do that connected breath, beauty, and body softness. It wasn't even meant to be spicy, it was sacred. Feminine. Intentional. You could subscribe if you wanted access. Just $9.99 a month. I called it Feel Good Femme. By month 2, over 3,000 women had signed up. That's right. Women, Not just men looking for flesh, but girls who'd grown up Bane, told they gotta hide it, tuck it, starve it, hate it. We healed together. And yes, the money came. So did offers, brand deals, invites to empowerment summits. I started paying off debt. Moved out that twin bed. Built a home studio. And one day, at random, I finally opened one of my subscription alerts from the coaching platform. And saw his name. Chris. Same man who said I was too fat. Paid full access. And when I opened the inbox, there he was again. Hey, is this really you? I saw a clip of your journey online. You look beautiful, more confident than ever. I was hoping maybe we could reconnect. I didn't get mad. Didn't even roll my eyes. I just smiled. Because this was no longer about him. This was about the woman he never stayed long enough to see evolve. By the time that man subscribed to my page, I already had 4 brand collaborations, 2 waitlists for coaching clients, and my name on a speaking panel called Soft and Unapologetic, reclaiming the curves the world told us to hide. And now here he was, hitched to a monthly payment, for a front row seat to the body he once tried to shrink with shame. The same curves he once insulted, now making me 5 figures a month. I didn't block him, didn't call him out, didn't send a petty reply. That's not my ministry. I let him sit in that subscription like a silent witness. Every time that monthly charge hit, that was a sermon. Few weeks later, I saw him for the first time in person. I didn't plan it. I was at this Black Creators Networking event downtown. Me and 2 other confidence coaches had been asked to speak on self-worth, monetizing your message, and how social media was shifting beauty norms. I showed up slow, nails almond-shaped and gleaming, curves hugged in a burnt orange jumpsuit, locks freshly retwisted with gold cuffs. And baby, I wasn't just seen that night. I changed the temperature of the room. After the panel, I was taking pictures with a couple of college girls when I saw him standing near the back. Chris, leaning near the exit, looking the same, but somehow smaller. Like a man who finally saw he'd let the best thing walk out while he stayed behind in his own ego. He approached me timid. Hey Brielle's, congratulations on everything. You really doing it now, huh? I smiled with that kind of softness that comes after you stop needing validation. Thank you, I hope you're well. He looked at me like he had a million things to say, but you know what he settled on. I didn't really know how special you were back then. That's when I knew. That man didn't want me. He wanted access to who I became without him. I didn't drag him. Didn't embarrass him. I gave him grace. A deep, holy, expensive kind. The kind healed women give, not out of pity, not for performance, but because they finally know who they are. I said, I didn't need you to know how special I was back then, I just needed me to remember it. And I turned away. Hugh, that was the whole meal, baby. No clapbacks. No need for revenge. Just clarity. Because when you're finally seated at a table you built yourself, you don't go begging to sit across from old company. He stayed subscribed, sent DMs like, I miss your energy. Nobody feels like you. Maybe we just met too young. Chilly, please. Those messages weren't love, they were loss in disguise. And while he saw confidence and curves on his screen, he didn't know the real victory I felt wasn't visibility. It was freedom. Whatever he gained when he left me, it wasn't better, just louder. And when the noise settled, only my name was still buzzing. Fast forward 3 months after that night. I was featured in an online women's magazine. Top 25 self-worth creators changing the internet. I opened the piece sitting, on my couch in pajamas, tears running down my cheeks. Because 1 year before, I was staring at myself in the mirror, wondering if I'd ever be more than a disappointment in someone else's timeline. And here I was, chosen, not for being fixed, not for being smaller, Not for being palatable. Chose for being whole. And he got to watch it all, one auto-renewed payment at a time. Somewhere along the road from heartbreak to healing, I stopped needing mirrors to feel beautiful. Stopped needing followers to feel seen. Stopped waiting for a sorry. And baby, I stopped fearing my own reflection. You know what fills me now? Silences that don't ache. Rooms I walk into without brassing myself. The feeling of joy, not borrowed but built. I started leading online workshops for body freedom. Not weight loss. Freedom. We talk real in those Zoom rooms. About stretch marks that felt like shame. About jeans that no longer fit. About the first time somebody made you feel like your softness was a liability. But then we cry. Then we laugh. Then we tell the truth to each other's faces. That our bodies are not apologies. Our shapes are not delays. And our beauty ain't gonna wait for someone, type to catch up. It was a PDF attachment. The subject line read, "To the one I didn't deserve." It was from Chris. Exactly 365 days after he walked out with that fake concern wrapped in cruelty. In the letter he said, "I thought I left because I needed more, but I didn't know you were more, I didn't know you were healing right in front of me. I was still hungry for validation. I didn't grow until I lost you." He ended it with, "If you ever need anything, even just support, I still owe you that." Baby, I closed that laptop slow. Not from anger, but because I've never needed repayment for love I gave freely. I whispered a little thank you under my breath. Not to him, to God, for talking me through the slow fire. And shaping me into a woman who didn't have to be seen to be valuable. Who would have been soft and sacred even if no one ever clapped. I don't share my numbers online, but just know this. This too fat woman pays her mortgage 6 months ahead. Books her own solo retreats. Sits front row at dinners she once waited tables at. And creates content in a body that once made her hide from her own camera. I lead with softness now. That's my luxury. Because love without respect is dust. And followers without self-trust are noise. But peace, baby. Peace is profit. Peace is power. Peace is the shape he never saw when all he could see was skin. They say karma takes its time. But when it finally shows up, baby, it don't need to scream. It just stands still, while everything and everyone that overlooked you watches you rise soft and unbothered. See, that man didn't just call Brielle too fat. He called her too much in all the ways he didn't know how to hold. Too visible, too valuable, too full of herself in a world that profits off our emptiness. But you know what Miss Brielle did? She made peace with her reflection. She stopped trying to squeeze herself into somebody else's comfort. And instead of shrinking, she sold the version of herself that bloomed after the storm, and built an empire off the body he couldn't love out loud. You see, love, the best revenge ain't revenge at all. It's not crying pretty tears or recording a comeback reel. No, the best revenge is freedom, healing, security, softness, and silence where you once used to plead. Because when you finally stop asking, am I enough for him? You start answering, was he ever enough for me? And let me just say this tender and true. If someone tells you your body is too much, go ahead and believe them. Because anything worth holding ought to take up space. So tell me, baby, if you were in Brielle's shoes, would you have answered that last message? Or would your silence speak louder than anything he ever said? Let me know in the comments. And if this story held your heart the way it held mine, hit that subscribe button. Share it with another sister who needs to remember, she is not too big, she's just too bright to fit in a dim-hearted man's shadow. Until next time, hold your softness like luxury. Hold your power like prayer. And if they can't see your worth, raise the price.